And welcome to the Note Buyers Academy. I believe that this is going to be the best academy that we've ever had. My goal is that you close a deal within the next 90 days. But what happened, I had a unique situation where it was a commercial deal that I was doing. And the original gal that I went to, this was terrible. I shouldn't tell you this, but so what happened was this gal says, she says, I'm a residential appraiser, but I could do this for you. And I'd already called multiple people. I said, okay, go ahead then, because I was in a hurry to close, and she says she could do it. So the property, I'm trying to make sure I got these details right. It had sold for $235,000, and he had put $50,000 down, and yeah, $235,000 was the sale price. So she comes back and she tells me that the value is $107,000. I went, are you kidding me? Donna, I found a strip mall. There's nothing right in that town, but I went one town over, and I found a strip mall, and the closest thing I could find is this, this, and this, and that's worth $107,000, and there's no doubt in my mind. And I went, can you please explain to me why a property with an assessed value of over $200,000 is now only worth $107,000? I mean, the only way that would happen is if the market had crashed. You know what I mean? The assessed value is not going to be $100,000 more. And it was like she really got into this argument with me. And I happened to be working on another deal, and that lady was a retired commercial. She taught commercial appraising. She was a retired teacher. And I called her up and I told her what was going on. And she says, no. She says, when you have, that clearly was worth the money. And she said, that sale should have stood on its own merit. What she needed to do, and what a commercial appraiser would have done, is go in and they would have appraised it based on that specific deal. The thing was, it had been completely remodeled. They had all new equipment and all this stuff in it. I mean, it was she wasn't looking at any of that. And it was an arm's length sale, the whole bit. So that was kind of a strange circumstance. So the moral of that story is, if you got a commercial transaction, you need to get on a commercial appraisal. But the unfortunate thing about that is that can cost a couple $1,000s. So unless you're willing, or if your note seller or the buyer happened to get an appraisal at that time, otherwise, what I wound up doing is I had to pass on that deal. And it made me sick to pass on the deal. But the guy had really pressed. We were doing it at minimum profit. There wasn't enough money for me to pay $2,000 for an appraisal. And they sure weren't going to pay for it. And so I had to pass on that deal. And I'll tell you, if I had cash available, I would have bought that note in a heartbeat. I would have. That was a great deal. But that's what happens sometimes. So anyway, that's my appraisal story. Okay. So let's go on to... So here's my actual buying the note. This is our note purchase agreement. This is what I was wanting you to see yesterday. As opposed to the 7-page, very legalistic note purchase agreement that scares people half to death, I came up with this. And since I've been doing this, I get lots more deals accepted. When I was using the longer one, many people wanted it to take it to their attorney. And it's just not worth it. And the thing is, if they walk away, do you really want to hold their feet to the fire? You know what I mean? It's not worth it. There's too many other deals out there. I would rather deal with people who want to sell it to me than try to force somebody to sell something when they've got another deal someplace else. But don't forget, if I think somebody's going to try to steal the deal, that's a different story in protecting your interest and getting the cancellation. But what I decided was it's better to have something. The purpose of this contract is not to hold them to it. It's to make them think I'm holding them to it, and it's to have a clear understanding of what our deal is. What are our expectations, so that we're all on the same page. But if this deal fell apart and they just decided not to sell it, I'm not going to go after them. You know what I mean? So this little letter has really worked out well. I don't think I need to read all this. I've gone through this enough times. You know the basics of my offer. It's all in here. So everything is spelled out. I do remind them that I tell them we're going to close at their title company where they got their title insurance. And I tell them, don't forget to bring the original note and a copy of their driver's license. Note I just closed on a couple weeks ago. I reminded the guy the night before, and sure enough, he drives an hour to the title company and gets there and forgot the original note. He had to drive all the way back, come back again. So that is a common thing. So remember to remind your note seller to bring a copy of the note. And I believe we've already mentioned the reason you want the copy of the settlement statement is because that shows whether or not there's a down payment, and it shows if they purchased a lender's title policy. Even if they haven't purchased a lender's title policy, if they got an owner's policy, you can still save money by calling that same title company, and because they've done a full search on that, probably a 42-year search. And so what they can do is they can just update that search for the last so many months, and it'll save you some money there. And then you purchase a new lender's title policy. But you get that off of the settlement statement. Okay. What makes the Academy are the people who come. Okay, thank you.